Looking for these better days.
It is Tuesday, June 16th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. 4 matches in the World Cup yesterday. No winners, no losers. We'll see if that carries over to today's action. Plus, all the latest in Major League Baseball. As Colby Marchio will give us a preview of tomorrow's action right here on this episode of Better Day presented by FanDuel. And how about that World Cup action yesterday? 4 games, including the tournament favorites, Spain, heavily favored to defeat Cape Verde, play to a 0-0 draw. Now, those of you who are not soccer fans, 0-0 means 0-0. Nobody scored. I was talking to somebody before this match because I was trying to figure out ways to bet France. And not France, excuse me, getting ahead of myself. I was thinking about ways to bet Spain, right? Spain was the tournament favorites along with France. And right now, updated odds on FanDuel, France, who plays their opening match today, is plus 430 to win the World Cup. Spain plus 500 as the second favorite. But when I was talking to somebody about how to bet Spain, I was thinking about laddering their total goals. You know, thinking about what Germany did on Sunday, where they scored 7 goals in their opening match. I'm thinking Spain can easily score 5 to 6 on Cape Verde. Not to be the case as they pull what was maybe the biggest shock in World Cup recent history, if not ever. Spain were minus 1,200 to win the game. They couldn't score on a 40-year-old goaltender. That's right. it's unbelievable. And you know something? A lot of people on Twitter, everyone reacting to this game yesterday. I don't know if anybody knew or still might know where Cape Verde is. It's off the coast of Africa, by the way, formerly a Portuguese colony. I did learn that yesterday. But this was one of the more shocking results that we have ever seen in the World Cup. Just the team, a nation, the smallest nation in this tournament, making it to their first World Cup, playing against the tournament favorites and playing to a 0-0 draw. Just shocking. Absolutely shocking. But that was the beginning of what was an incredibly wild day yesterday. Belgium and Egypt played to a 1-1 draw. Saudi Arabia and Uruguay, a 1-1 draw. And Iran and New Zealand played to a 2-2 draw. 4 games, no winners, no losers. If you bet the draw in every game yesterday, you came out quite ahead. Now, is that going to carry over to today's matches? I don't know. We have some heavy favorites here in this slate coming up this afternoon. France takes on Senegal in their opening match. Current odds up on FanDuel right now. France minus 210. Senegal plus 550 and the draw plus 340. Then it is Iraq against Norway. Norway minus 550. Iraq plus 1400. The draw plus 600. And Argentina. That's right. Argentina takes on Algeria. Leo Messi and company, a minus 260 favorite. Algeria plus 800. The draw plus 360. I don't think we're going to see the upsets, if any, the upset meaning like a draw. I think yesterday's results kind of, sent shockwaves throughout the soccer world. And if you're a nation like France, you're thinking that you cannot afford a let up here in the opening match. You don't want to get shocked and have everybody looking down upon you like people are looking at Spain right now. And Senegal's not a pushover. Senegal's, pretty fairly ranked in the FIFA World Rankings. This one being played in New Jersey, by the way, East Rutherford. Um, I just, I think France has to look at that game as like a wake up call from Spain, and maybe we see a response here from Kylian Mbappe and company. The tournament favorites right now up on FanDuel. Once again, France plus 430 favorites to win the World Cup. A big story in the football world as Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby, he's a transfer to Texas Tech, formerly at Cincinnati. He is actually not going to play for Texas Tech this season. Brendan Sorsby is going to enter the NFL supplemental draft ahead of this season. Now, for those of you who haven't followed this story, and we haven't talked about it much on the pod really at all, but Sorsby admitted to placing bets on several sports. He claimed it was a gambling addiction. He completed inpatient rehab, and he applied for reinstatement for with the NCAA in order to play football for Texas Tech this season. He was denied that request. But then a Texas judge granted a temporary injunction like last week or so, which made him eligible to play this season. But then the Big 12 is suing Texas Tech, and then there's just so much, backlash about everything that's going on with this, the judge in Texas. It's crazy. Shoresby was one of the top transfer players in all of the portal, right? Going from Cincinnati to Texas Tech, he was going to make over $5 million in NIL money. He was going to be one of the highest paid players in college football. A lot of people had him as the number one player in the transfer portal. He was so good for Cincinnati and for Texas Tech, a team that we know is led by all the NIL money. What a run they had last year. The thing that they were missing was a top tier quarterback. Getting Brendan Sorsby was going to make them a legit national title contender this season. This story is wild. Now we have to wait to see if a team is going to select Sorsby in the supplemental draft. The way the supplemental draft works is the draft order is kind of randomly selected, but then players don't actually have to get drafted. So, like, if a team is interested in a player, it bids one of its draft picks for the following year on that player. And the team that submits the highest bid, the highest pick bid, is granted that player, and then they forfeit that pick in next year's draft. So you can say, hey, I'm going to bid a fourth rounder on Brendan Sorsby. And then another team's going to come in and say, I'll bid a third rounder on Brendan Sorsby. And that's who's going to get the player if, in fact, the team is willing to do that. If not, he'll just maybe be an undrafted free agent. But there's a big question with Sorsby. Is this issue behind him? If he gets caught gambling while in the NFL, it is a much more severe crime, or not crime, but much more severe penalty than just a suspension. Is there a team out there that's willing to take this risk? And if he is selected, could Brendan Sorsby actually find himself making an NFL roster ahead of this season? Like I said, the kid was talented at Cincinnati. 27 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He also rushed for over 600 yards and 9 touchdowns. He can be an asset to an NFL team if there's no off the field issues. And I've heard some draft analysts say that if he was in last year's draft, he would have been taken as maybe the second quarterback off the board, like ahead of Ty Simpson. So I think this is a fascinating story that we're just going to have to keep our eyes on as the days progress here. Around the NFL, mandatory mini camps are set to begin. We are prepared for football season. Like, we're getting everything in order. If you actually head to betterday.com right now and click on the NFL tab, you will see our brand new NFL headquarters. That's right. We have our brand new NFL HQ and college football HQ under the NFL tab and NCAAF tab. And what you'll see there is you'll see the schedule of games. You'll be able to click on a game and see all the player props for that game. That is also going to be the home for the Trench Report. The weekly Trench Report is going to be there in the NFL headquarters. Right now, currently, there is just last year's final rankings in the Trench Report. Also, Steve Fezzik's power ratings can be found there, as well as any articles that we publish for the NFL. Same thing in college football. You'll be able to find the schedule, player props and whatnot when available, articles that are written about college football, and yes, our brand new college football trench report, new for this season. Currently, if you go look at our college football trench report, we have, just like the NFL, the final rankings from last year's trenches. So you want to break down the game from an offensive and defensive line perspective? That's right. We always say the game is won in the trenches, and we cannot wait to see if it holds true once again here in the 2026 NFL season. Major League Baseball last night, we faded the A's after their Las Vegas series, took the Pirates at plus money, and it didn't work out. The A's, with an 11-2 victory over the Pirates, they continued their offensive ways after a high-scoring week even though 4 of the games went under, are still a high scoring week here in Vegas. And the Dodgers snap out of a little bit of a funk. They lost 2 out of 3 to the White Sox this weekend. They beat the Rays last night and come from behind fashion 4-3. They were down 3-0 early in this game. Now, with a look at Tuesday's schedule and other news around Major League Baseball, we hand things over to our very own Colby Marchio.
Oh, it's that time of the week again, folks. Colby Marchio here with your MLB update. And let's go right into it. Let's talk about the White Sox. Yep, we're going right there. This afternoon, recording on Monday evening, MLB put out their top 10 standings, and the White Sox were inside the top 10, 6, I believe. And my initial thought was, imagine being in a coma over the last 2 years and waking up to that. You'd be like, that's probably AI. That's probably Photoshopped. Nope. After taking down the Braves and the Dodgers, who are inside the top 5 in that ranking. What? It's just the power of friendship, people. We don't have to talk about this too long because it's only a 5-minute thing. But good God, is this the coolest storyline outside of the Knicks? I'll say it. Now that the MNBA finals is over with, congratulations to the New York Knicks. Go, New York, go, New York, go. White Sox, center stage. Coolest story in sports at the moment. It is remarkable. If you have a problem with it, if you're wishing upon their downfall, as I talk about with how I feel about LeBron James for the LeBron James haters out there, enjoy it while you can. Regardless if they fall off a cliff in the second half, they're still a success. 2 years removed from being the worst to ever do it. Tuesday evening, we get Garrett Cole and Davis Martin. Could be the series of the week. I'm calling it right now, series of the week. Matchup of this series is Tuesday. It's going to be awesome. I was initial thought, oh, nerfy. And then I was like, Colby, use your brain. It's probably going to be minus 175. And there's no reason to take that. There's really no reason to take that when Martin could give up something to Rice or Goldschmidt, whoever, top of the lineup. And Cole is notorious for giving up early solo nukes. So probably not going to be looking for that. Probably just going to be enjoying it unless I find another matchup Tuesday morning. But there was another thing I want to talk about as I was talking to producer Matt Pryor about the series that went down in Vegas as the Athletics were playing in the second highest elevated ballpark behind Coors Field, and everyone saw what happened. Everyone. Nuke, 15, 25, 75 runs, whatever it was. As a baseball purist, I didn't like it. One, I'm not betting on any game where a home run's priced that low. I don't enjoy that. Sure, there was a ton of matchups. Well, you could have taken 2 home runs. And what was that? The price of their one and any other ballpark? It's not fun to bet on. I don't need a home run every 5th at bat. That takes away the beauty of the game. That's the way I view it. That's like 100 points combined in an NFL game. Sure, that Rams-Chiefs game was awesome because it was a rare one. It was a rare one. Well, Colby, it was only 6 games. I hope it never happens again because their new ballpark is going to be indoors. Also, it's like a 220-plus point game in the MNBA. Colby, that happens every single day. That's why I don't like it. I don't need that many points. And you could be like, well, Colby, 50 points in a college basketball game is lame. Well, sometimes I like defense. Saturday, I was at the White Sox game, almost saw a perfect game. It was boring. Can't lie. It was boring. First inning, there was 2 home runs. Other than that, it was boring. But I don't need baseball like that. I don't need it. And I didn't watch it because I wasn't going to enjoy seeing 20 runs put up. I don't need to see that. That's not real baseball. Real baseball does not have a home run every 5th or so at bat. I think that's just gross. I'm glad they're gone. I'm glad they're back at home. Glad I can finally look into taking the Athletics lineup, which is on fire right now. They're awesome, just like the White Sox, just like the Rays. All of these smaller market teams are exploding, and it's great for the game of baseball, and everyone should go out and enjoy it instead of watching, I don't know, the Red Sox, any other team that's boring. The Padres are boring. Look, they're a couple games back, blah, blah, blah. These teams are more exciting. Go pay attention to these smaller market teams. That was all I have. I don't really have any much because I don't want to spend 5 minutes talking to you guys about the White Sox because I do it every week. Jake and I are going to talk about it on a Wednesday. We're going to be smirking ear to ear going, yeah, Will Benevole, coach of the year, and 66.5 points. We're almost there. we could do that on Wednesday. But folks, it's going to be a great week. Series of the week is going to be White Sox Yankees. It's going to be very interesting as a Yankee fan. I'm just going to be rooting for fun. I got too much invested. Who do I want to win? I'll be happy with whatever because I have the White Sox team win total over, and I'm a lifelong Yankee fan. So that's all I have. If you want to follow me, Colby M. Betts, wherever you need to find me. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday with Jake Hassan.
Great stuff from Colby. Don't forget, him and Jake Hassan will have their Off the Board podcast streaming live tomorrow on the Better Day YouTube and Twitter page every Wednesday and Friday. And you can listen to the pods later at your leisure right here on the Better Day podcast feed. Yesterday in college baseball, Oklahoma defeated Georgia in a winner's game. Texas defeated Alabama in the elimination game. So today's schedule will feature Texas versus Georgia in an elimination game, West Virginia and Troy in an elimination game. The winners will advance to Wednesday to take on North Carolina and Oklahoma, respectively. All right, that'll wrap up this episode of Better Day. As a reminder, make sure you are following us across all your social media platforms. We have a lot of big news coming. I just announced today the NFL and college football HQs, but also Trench Reports, new content coming for football season. This is the time to build, and we want you to build with us at betterday.com. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.